Welcome to the McGraw Hill interview series with members of our Learning Science Advisory Board. We're talking today about a multitude of issues, all of which are relevant to promote equity in higher education and to make sure that we understand what role learning science plays. I hope you enjoy them. Tanya, hi there. It's great to work with you today. I'm really looking forward to our conversation. You know, I hope that McGraw Hill is really excited about our partnership with the OLC, and it's come at a wonderful time. There are so many great things that we can do together as a partnership. I know you're very involved with the OLC, but also you do a great deal for our Learning Science Advisory Board, so we keep you busy and we thank you for that. I'd love to find out a little bit more, if possible, about your data research center and what the objectives are that perhaps you could take us through.
Sure. So the Data Research Center, the big name of it is the National Research Center for Distance Education and Technological Advancements. And so we launched the Research Center in 2014. It was a collaborative effort with other institutions and community organizations nationally. And the goal of the Data Research Center is really to identify effective practices. And when I talk about practices, I mean instructional practices, institutional practices, learning practices that we can identify through research. So they're evidence-based practices in order to ensure access and success for all students. And so we do a lot of research, not only for what are the factors that are influencing student outcomes, but we also want to make sure that those factors are working for all students, in particular for underrepresented students, first generation students, ethnic and racial minority students, low income students. And so that is really what we've been spending the last 6 years doing at the Data Research Center.
There are so many questions I could ask you around that, but I know our time is limited. So I'm just curious around what you've learned specifically in relation to course design and the general learning experience. You mentioned particularly some of the first generation students and low income students. We're also trying to focus some of our energy in that direction as well. But I wonder generally if there are just a couple of tips you could add that indicate how you can ensure student success.
Well, I think you probably hit on one of the most important findings we've had in our cross-institutional research the last few years, and that is design matters. And so a lot of times we find that we're just trying to push our course online or tack on technology or different sorts of apps and so forth, and we can't really do that. We really need to sit down and look at the design of the course and the organization of the course if we want to truly impact student outcomes. And so, you know, through the years, 20 years I've been teaching blended online, we thought these different factors sort of mattered, but there wasn't a lot of research that actually was saying like, yes, you should be doing these things. So through our analysis, we know that design and organization are the most important factors when you are designing blended online courses if you want to influence student outcomes. And I think, with McGraw Hill Education, that's one of the amazing things and why I love being on the Learning Science Research Board is because you are a company that cares about outcomes. You provide the research and evidence that all of your applications and different product lines are influencing student outcomes positively, and that you have a commitment to equity. We have another train of research to mention briefly on online learning readiness and ensuring that all students are prepared for online and blended learning. And as we sit in the middle of a global pandemic and all of the students across the globe are moving to remote instruction, how do we know that students are ready for that? So we have 3 recent studies that we are publishing. One is already out in the American Journal of Distance Ed, but we know that online learning readiness, like technology access and skills, ability to communicate online with your instructor and peers, as well as being a self-directed and self-regulated learner are very important in influencing outcomes. And we know that minorities tend to have lower perceptions of their work productivity skills. So one thing that we can all do is ensure that our students are ready for online. And although they're really great at Instagram and TikTok, we need to ensure that they know how to use products like Microsoft Word and Excel, or that the products they're going to be using come with support to help them get on board quickly.
That's fascinating, Tanya, and so timely. And we really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Simon.